Not too far away from where we are tonight is a place where dreams come true. And proud USC alum Dick Nunis played a major role in bringing Disney magic into the lives of millions of kids and adults around the world. Please direct your attention once again to the video screen.
When Lester Jordan created the Academic All-America program some 60 years ago, he certainly had student athletes like Dick Nunis in mind. Passionate, dedicated, and affable are three words that instantly come to mind when speaking of Nunis. But how could you not be all of those things when working with Walt Disney? The journey to the place where all dreams come true began for Nunis while playing for one of the nation's most iconic football programs at the University of Southern California, where he earned a degree in education in 1954 and was named to Jordan's very first Academic All-America squad in 1952. Nunis was hailed as one of the best of his era while donning the Cardinal and gold as a sophomore on the 1951 squad that featured Hall of Famer and legendary broadcaster Frank Gifford. Dick led the Trojans with 6 interceptions, and the following season he helped lead USC to a 10-1 overall record, including a 7-0 victory over Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. In the second-to-last game before that Rose Bowl triumph, however, Nunis saw his playing career come to an end when he suffered a broken neck in the third quarter of the Trojans' 14-12 win over crosstown rival UCLA. Though his dreams of playing professional football came to an end with that injury, Dick later said that that event, a real tragedy at the time, turned out to be the best accident of my life. Following graduation, Nunis entered the ground floor of a new venture in the Southern California region, the opening of Disneyland. From an hourly employee in 1955, he worked his way up to the position of president of Walt Disney Attractions in 1980 and was named chairman of Walt Disney Attractions in 1991, a position from which he retired in 1998 after 44 years with the company. There are those who may describe Nunis as Walt Disney's right-hand man for many years, but Dick will tell you that Disney himself didn't look at it that way. They were on a first-name basis and developed a mutual friendship and respect that has lasted beyond Disney's passing in 1966. And the attractions that have thrilled and entertained millions across the world are a testament to the joy, the passion that Nunis brought to the company throughout his tenure. An active and visible member of the Central Florida community, Nunis sits on the boards of several organizations and is director of Give Kids the World, a nonprofit center for terminally ill children. He served as charter chairman of the University of Central Florida's Board of Trustees for 4 years and was instrumental in the construction of UCF's on-campus football stadium and basketball arena. Pat Hayden and John Neighbor are two men of Troy who have earned their right place with these greats of athletics and academia. And tonight, we welcome as the third Trojan to be inducted into the Capital One Academic All-America Hall of Fame, Dick Nunis.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Nunis. Dick took the Fast Pass Plus right to the interview seat.
Once an operating guy, always an operating guy.
I was looking, you're active on Twitter, right?
I hope not.
You're not? I looked at it, tried to look up a feed, and it said you spend a lot of time surfing the internet and stuff. Do you?
No, sir.
None whatsoever?
I put, what do I put, honey? Stop.
You put stop on it? Okay. Somebody's got a fake account on you out there too, because it was all about Disney attractions.
Don't run the account up.
Okay, I won't. What does it mean to you after this time to be on the first Academic All-America team and then to have it culminate in this honor tonight?
Well, it's really the culmination of a dream that a kid had, to be a good athlete and to get a college education. I was really lucky. I've always been at the right place at the right time. And my high school football coach, Jim Blewett, I was a freshman. I think I flunked the B3 because I came from a very poor family. And I knew I was going to have to get a job in order to go to college. And I was in a shops course. And Jim Blewett called me into his office. I was in spring practice. I flunked the B3, so that's why I was in spring practice. And that was the 10th grade, by the way. And he said, Nunis, you want to play football for me? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, you get yourself in an academic course. And I said, well, sir, I'm in a shops course, blah, blah. He says, look, you keep doing what you're doing, you'll get a scholarship. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what a scholarship was. So I got the scholarship, and when I got the call from Dick Enberg, it was such an exciting evening for me because I thought about Jim Blewett at that time. And when I got the call to get a scholarship to the University of Southern California, which was right in my backyard, I went to Manual Arts. I called my coach and I said, Coach, I just wanted to thank you for getting me prepared for college football. And by the way, when I started playing football, I called him again and I said, yes, sir, thank you very much, because there's a huge difference between college football and high school football.
What do you recall most fondly from your days playing at SC?
Well, I'm glad that somebody mentioned it. Frank Gifford, by the way, that was the beginning of the two-platoon system, where you had a defense and an offense. The good players played both. So Frank Gifford was a strong safety, and I was the free safety. And against Notre Dame in the Coliseum before a sellout crowd, Guglielmi, I still remember the quarterback, great quarterback. He threw a touchdown pass over Frank's head. Frank was a great guy, great leader. And he said to me, he came up after the play and he said, Dick, that was my man. And I said, Frank, you know that and I know that. I just hope the coach knows it. By the way, 25 years later, he was at Walt Disney World. I got a call. It was Frank Gifford. He says, number 26, Classic All-American, was accused of a touchdown pass. It was my man. I said, so that's the kind of guy Frank is. By the way, the next day in the paper, it said, headlines, USC loses, freshman Dick Nunis lets a touchdown pass go over his head. The only damn good thing about the article, they spelled my name right.
Any publicity is good publicity sometimes, Dick.
Well, let's cut all through it. You live with this every day of your life. The press is king, and as long as they spell your name right through the years, nothing bothered me.
We heard in the video that you described your injury as a fortunate accident. How were you able to avoid the what if?
Reese, I was, I've always believed very strongly that something good comes out of something bad, and I believe that I've always been at the right place at the right time. I wanted to be a coach, and if I hadn't broken my neck, I probably would have gone on and been a coach, and I wound up being a coach with a great winning team, and I wound up my career being able to work for a wonderful guy by the name of Walt Disney, who was just the most wonderful guy in the world. In fact, I was looking for a job, and there were no jobs for coaches after I graduated. I was getting my master's degree, so I put in my application for a job for the summer, I thought, and I was walking through the halls, and here's Walt. He said, don't I know you, young man? I said, yes, sir. He said, what's your name? Dick Nunis. He said, oh, yeah, you played football at USC. He said, what are you doing here? I said, well, sir, I'm in orientation training, but I do anything they ask me. Well, Walt was a great guy, and honestly, I think back on my career, when I climbed the ladder, what life is all about, it's the ladder of life. And the ladder with Disney was, for 44 years, was a wonderful ladder. With Walt, he was such a great guy, and a lot of the supervisors would say, hey, Walt's going to be down here, look sharp. I would go around to my people and say, hey, the boss is going to be down this weekend. Tip me off what he has to say. I'll buy you a cup of coffee. So I got along great with Walt. And I think what Walt believed in very strongly, that you can design, create, and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make the dream a reality. And you know, you stop and think about it. Here we are, Walt Disney World. Mr. Marriott Sr. was at the opening of Walt Disney World. And he asked me, he said, Dick, he said, you know what I think I need around my hotels is one of them castles over there. What does it take to do one? And I said, well, sir, a lot of guts and a lot of money. Well, I think Walt and Mr. Marriott are up in heaven right now, looking down, saying, we were both right.
When did you get the sense or the vision that the theme parks, that Disney World would become what they've become?
Well, really, frankly, from the very beginning, because if you stop and think about 1955, and I was there at the opening, and everybody thought Walt was nuts. The union contracts, by the way, were for 16 weeks because everybody thought it would close down when the winter came. But Walt had a vision. He was trying to create a place where families could all have fun together. It's a true story. He got tired of going to the park and eating peanuts and watch his kids riding the merry-go-round. And some of these young people right down here is a classic example of the family that I had the pleasure of having a picture with tonight. That's what it's all about. And the thing that's wonderful about Disneyland and Walt Disney World here and all over the world now is that you can see 4 generations at Disneyland in California walking down the street together, all having fun, and that's what life's all about.
I saw some pictures recently, some photographs of the work that's going on in China, and that dream has been expanded all across the world now.
Yeah, it's around the world. And the first one, by the way, was Tokyo Disneyland. We wanted to get Walt Disney World going before. And by the way, if I may, Walt Disney World was a tough thing. We announced the project in 1965, and Walt died in December of 1966. And his brother Roy was actually already retired. And thanks to 4 men, starting with Roy Disney, Don Tatum, our CEO, Card Walker, our Chief Operating Officer, and Ron Miller, who was the son-in-law, they decided to go forward with the project. Now stop and think about a gamble. Our entire company was grossing $129 million a year. The day we opened, on October 1st, 1971, we'd invested $400 million. And by God, it really was a good decision. By the way, you were going to ask me about tickets.
I wanted to see if I could perhaps get some not only discounted park hoppers, but maybe something that will get me to the front of all the lines.
I was going to start out with, do you want the short answer or the long answer? But let me give you the long answer. I'd be very happy to introduce you to ESPN Sports. You know, we have a great complex out there, ESPN Sports.
I have been there.
And it's fabulous.
It is.
Has anybody been there? If you haven't, please go there, okay?
It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
It is really
But see, there's another classic concept. The reason that was done is there was a great need for it, because you try to get parents to come with their kids to watch them play. What better way than to come to Walt Disney World for a playoff and also spend the weekend or whatever, or the week, at Walt Disney World having fun together.
I saw George O'Leary here tonight, and you've been very active with the UCF program and the growth there. How did you compare watching the success of UCF this year with, say, SC beating UCLA?
Well, that's a tough question, but first let me say that I have a USC tie on and a UCF belt. No, seriously, my family's here tonight, and they enjoy seeing every USC game, and I have tickets here at, obviously, UCF, and I enjoy every game. But you know something, you learn so much on the athletic field. And the other great coach that I know is George O'Leary. And Baylor, we were underdogs by 17 points. I didn't make a bet. Gosh, I should have. But I didn't.
You didn't hear that.
I know it. No, I did not make a bet. That's for the record. But seriously, coaches don't win games. Players do. And I honestly believe that team got together and said, let's win one for the coach. And you know, it's the reason for it, the coach came here 10 years ago. Our first year, we did not win a game. And last year, and this is really, really special because some of the athletes mentioned it, it's more important to be a student than it is to be an athlete. But that team was ranked number 10 in the nation, but their graduation rate was number 1 out of the top 10. 83% of Coach O'Leary's students graduated, and 6 or 8 of them with a master's degree. That's what college football is all about.
And certainly you epitomize that as well. Congratulations on this honor tonight, Dick.
I appreciate it very much.
Real pleasure
Thank
meeting
you.
you. Thank you.